All right, do you want a free jersey? We're going to be giving away the DeAndre Swift signed jersey when we hit 2,000 subscribers. We're going to be doing the 3 biggest risers in the Dynasty profile here in the end of January, early February here. We're just trying to see who has been increasing in value. All 3 of these players are no longer, they're not in the playoffs. They're not Kansas City or Eagles players. So these 3 players have been rising, and we're going to tell you if you should buy these players or sell these players in the next month here, so you guys have an idea of who to buy, who to sell, if they're fake risers or if they're real risers. And the first one we're going to go through is Najee Harris. Now, if you look at Najee Harris 12 months ago, he was a top 5 Dynasty running back by many regards, coming off a wonderful top 5 season, in fact, and just had an amazing rookie year. He was a little bit older of a rookie, but now you look at where he is ranking-wise, ranked 14th. He is behind the likes of Joe Mixon, Ramondre Stevenson, Nick Chubb, DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs, Javonte Williams. Some of these just don't make any sense. Now, on the outside, it looks to be like Najee Harris had a horrible year. And if I told you, guess what his fantasy finish was? For a Najee owner, for somebody who's owned Najee, I would have probably said, gosh, 22, 24, somewhere around there. He just didn't seem to be super productive, but he was 12th. He was technically 12th overall in standard, 14th in PPR. Oh, I'm destroying my microphone here. So it's one of those things that you think he had a bad year, but you had a top RB2 season, almost RB1 season. You look at how he finished the year: 84, 111, 53, 86, 33, which wasn't great, 86, 35, 90, 99 yards. He had over 1,000 yards rushing. So when you look at a player who had 1,083 or 1,038, if I'm not dyslexic, and 7 touchdowns. He did have a 3.82 average, which is right around his rookie season. He had 229 yards on 41 receptions. He just didn't have the 94 targets, the 74 receptions he did in his rookie year. That's the only difference. Well, guess what? You're going to have a player that is going to now have a sophomore quarterback that you hope to have a step up into that offense. You hope that offense is going to increase and be better than it was last year for Najee Harris. He's 24. I would rather have him, yes, over the Nick Chubbs, over the Joe Mixons, easily over Joe Mixon. I mean, we're talking about a running back that is still a borderline top 10 running back. We cannot be pushing him way down the boards at 14 right now. Yes, he's moving up, but I could easily see him being a top 10 running back in a month. And so Najee Harris is an absolutely huge buy right now. And if you told me DeAndre Swift, Najee Harris, you got to choose one. DeAndre Swift is at 10. I mean, I am sitting there and thinking, man, DeAndre Swift, I like him. I think he's more talented as a running back. But Najee Harris is going to have volume. He's going to have no Jamal Williams. It might be tempting to think, wow, they're not too far away from each other. If you told me Javonte and Najee, they are literally hand in hand, and Javante's coming off a major knee injury. Again, we are having some of these players in the top 10. Travis Etienne, again, a running back very close to Najee Harris's age. He's number 6 in the Fantasy Pros rankings. So you have 6 and 14. Really, Najee Harris needs to be moved up close to that top 10. In the top 10, right around some of these running backs. He has an argument to be made. And I honestly think when people start looking into it more, they're going to be like, he has to move up. He is the biggest riser. The second biggest riser has been J.K. Dobbins. Him and the third guy have the same thing in common. It's recovery from injury. J.K. Dobbins, really after that knee cleanup, he got it cleaned up halfway through the year. Because if you look at J.K. Dobbins, we're going to kind of go through his stats. I mean, week 1 and 2, he said he was going to be there, but it wasn't end up there. And then week 3, 4, 5, and 6 were just kind of meh. 44 yards rushing max. I mean, that's not what you want from a running back. He didn't come back till week 14 against Pittsburgh, but he had 120 yards, 125, 59, and 93. 1 touchdown, ended up being a very serviceable running back the last 4 weeks. J.K. Dobbins is an extremely talented running back, 24 years old. These running backs, I feel like, are going to have this jump into being Josh Jacobs. You're going to have some of these running backs that have been RB2s or not even RB2s in their career. They're going to move up into that category. J.K. Dobbins could have the Tony Pollard jump. The Tony Pollard jump being a low-end RB1 or high-end RB2. I think that can easily happen. I don't see why that can't happen. J.K. Dobbins, if you go back to his rookie year, I mean, he didn't play, he had Mark Ingram and everything like that, but he was a top he was 17th in standard and 23rd in PPR. He had 601 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, and he also was 120 yards through the air. So it wasn't amazing, but it was a start to he was a top 15 running back, top 12 running back that last half of the year, and everything was looking good going into that sophomore year, and then that knee injury happened. Well, these are the players. J.K. Dobbins, I am absolutely buying as well. These are the players that we look at saying, okay, they're going to make the next jump. They are going to make the jump like Ramondre Stevenson. They are going to make the jump like Josh Jacobs. Let me see even where he's ranked right now. 19th. He is ranked behind players. Now, if you told me J.K. Dobbins, Alvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, we talked about the running backs peaks. I would rather have J.K. Dobbins over all those older running backs. I would rather have him over Joe Mixon. I would rather have him over Derrick Henry, over Dalvin Cook, over Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara. Like, these are all players that I would rather have J.K. Dobbins over all these players. He needs to be moved up. He's 19th right now. I think 24, if that knee is fully recovered. That's the only question. And we've had that question with other players as well, but if that knee is fully recovered, he needs to be a top 15 running back. Now, he doesn't need to be a top 10 running back, but why can't he be 15th? Why can't he be where Najee Harris kind of is? And the difference between Pollard is coming off a major ankle injury. He is 15th right now. And Derrick Henry is 16th, and Dalvin Cook is 17th. And just some of these running backs need to be moved down. I would rather have J.K. Dobbins over Tony Pollard. I don't know if that's necessarily a crazy thing or not, but I would rather have him over that. The next running back is 24th. He needs to be a top 20 running back, honestly, with what I saw at the end of the year. I mean, he needs probably to be ahead of all these old running backs. And in fact, if you could do this now, if you could take any of the old running backs, Cook, Mixon, Kamara, Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, those running backs, not Austin Eckler. I want more than, I probably am hoping for more than J.K. Dobbins or J.K. Dobbins plus or Cam Akers plus. And Cam Akers, who I've been a complete hater, he is 23.6 years old. You could call me a definitely hater on Mr. Cam Akers. But what he showed at the last part of his Achilles injury and what D'Onta Foreman had showed as well, if I can go to it here, my whole computer decided it didn't want to do it. So what he showed in the last few weeks in an offense that was absolutely horrible was actually pretty impressive because he didn't play week 6, week 7, week 8, week 9, 5 rushes for 3 yards. That's wonderful. Week 10 against Arizona. Ooh, let's see. 6 for 22. Not great. And then it just keeps going. But the last 4 weeks, 23 for 118. Well, actually, no, 12 for 65. 23 for 118. 19 for 123. 21 for 104. He shows that he can do it. The average yards per carry, 5. 5.4, 5.1, 6.4, 5. He, even looking against the game against Denver, that kind of showed against that defense, he had 3 touchdowns. He looked like a good running back. Now, I know the biggest thing that I've been against Cam Akers is he's been a raw prospect, especially at Florida State. He didn't look the greatest. I mean, his offensive line was horrendous there, and now he just kind of goes to a Ram situation. It's kind of horrendous there. He's still young. Why is he not being projected to have a top 24 finish? I mean, I think that this is Cam Akers' squad. We already know the Rams cap situation. We know the Rams picks situation where they just lack the draft capital. I think that Cam Akers is going to be the starting running back next year. And how I said that I didn't think he was going to be a top 20 running back this year, I think he'll be a top 20 running back in 2023. And so this is all about buying and selling stocks at the right time. I was like, sell Cam Akers. And now I feel like the stock has gone down far enough where I'm like, hey, his value is actually a little bit higher. Let's buy into it. So all these 3 players that are moving up in the last few weeks here, these are all 3 actually buys that I would like to do. And these are all buys on running backs that kind of actually fit perfectly with the video last just a couple days ago. So, I mean, we were talking about peak running backs that you need to sell, running backs, and guess what? maybe one of these running backs becomes CEH and they become pointless and worthless, but you gotta bid, because if you don't bid, you're gonna miss out on the Josh Jacobs. And if you miss out on Josh Jacobs, I mean, let's just see where Josh Jacobs is in the Dynasty rankings. Josh Jacobs is number 9. And so you miss somebody getting up into that top 10. And I'm surprised Josh Jacobs 9, but I mean, he could be valued in some people's eyes even higher. So the only problem with Josh Jacobs is he's going to be potentially on an unknown destination next year, and that's why he's at 9. So again, this is Marcus with Dynasty with Dads. We're just trying to help you through this Dynasty offseason here. Peace out. We'll see you again soon.